Pardon me, thank you. Pardon me, excuse me. Kyle, pardon me, sorry. Is this anyone's jacket?
Yes.
Thank you. And is this...
Yeah, we need one more.
Yep. It's going to go on the other side because of the podium blocking sideline. I see. Yeah. Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And then we have there's another one of the light stands. Do you want that up here as well?
No, he's just thank you so much.
Don't drag it too far because the camera needs sight line to the podium.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh wait, sorry. Yeah, that'll be the clicker. So do you have slides separate from this presentation?
No,
And
currently.
then yes, so the green button will advance and the red button is for back. Amazing. These ready? Or what's your ready? Sorry. Please leave that up. Any other questions? No? Also, I know, right?
I appreciate that so much. I have lunch with my weekly partners. Annie, you're good to go.
All right. Hi. Wow, that's loud. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Annie Calderuso, and I help lead the New Economy Collaborative and the coalition behind the Build Back Better Regional Challenge, a $63 million federal investment into our region's robotics and autonomy cluster. I have the great fortune today of touting others' accomplishments. Ooh. So over the past 3 years, this coalition, many of whom are here today, which spans 11 counties and over 90 partners that includes universities, nonprofits, workforce boards, and industry partners, have been working together toward one shared goal: to ensure that the next generation of robotics and advanced manufacturing innovation happens right here in Southwestern Pennsylvania, and that our region's residents share in that prosperity. So our work has really been organized around 3 pillars. First, manufacturing competitiveness. Through Catalyst Connection and the Advanced Robotics for Manufacturing Institute, we've worked with more than 600 small and mid-sized manufacturers, from bakeries to metal fabricators, to help them adopt robotics and autonomous systems into their workflows. Second, innovation and entrepreneurship. Our region's startup ecosystem is abuzz, as you can see over there. Since 2021, our region's cluster has grown from fewer than 80 companies to more than 130 today. Through the Robotics Factory at Innovation Works, 16 new startups have launched and are scaling their businesses in our region. Through Innovate PGH and CMU's Pathways Fellowship, high potential founders are turning their ideas into investable, high impact companies. And third, of course, broad-based workforce development. Led by the Southwestern Pennsylvania Commission, more than 20 partners have trained more than 10,000 residents through degree, non-degree, and work-based trainings. From mechatronics degrees at community colleges to Battle of the Bots run through Bots IQ to the United Mine Workers Career Center, students and adults alike are gaining the skills they need to thrive in this new economy. So these numbers tell a truly remarkable story, but the real impact is human, which is why I'm so delighted to get off the stage and to pass it on to Chris Wink, the CEO and founder of Technically, who will be moderating a panel of Southwestern Pennsylvania residents who have been touched by the Build Back Better programs. Thanks so much and enjoy the panel.
Why, thank you, Annie. Come on up. Hi, friends. I'm Chris Wink. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Technically. We're a news organization. We report on tech and robotics ecosystems around the country. So what you're about to listen into, as Annie set up, is what do we mean by robotics ecosystems? Insight into what you're walking through today, but also if you're not from Pittsburgh, what takeaways we might have for other ecosystems. So maybe like a bit of, by way of introduction, I'm going to go from farthest down. Can you like start me off with who the heck are you? Why are you on this? And give me a little taste for what you think the robotics ecosystem in Pittsburgh is.
Hi, everybody. My name is Paul Grech. I'm co-founder and CEO of OctaPulse. We are building computer vision solutions for fish farming or aquaculture. And then what was the...
What do you even mean by robotics ecosystem? If I say that, what is the robotics ecosystem from your lens?
So I just graduated from CMU, and I was fortunate to be one of the Robotics Institute Pathways Fellows with Innovate PGH. So the robotics ecosystem to me is everything offered in the Short Center with CMU, the Pathways Fellowship, as well as we're part of the Robotics Factory Accelerator. So we have had a ton of resources to help us go from idea stage to actually we're waiting to sign a contract with a commercial farm now. So everything from that beginning idea stage to this point, and I know beyond as well.
So we're going to make a story of this. So all right, Paul's our founder out of CMU. Let's keep going. Kirby, do the same thing.
All right, I'm Kirby Witte. I'm also a co-founder out of CMU. I'm
like
from
that.
ESTAT Actuation, where we make electric glue. It's glue that sticks when it's on, releases when it's off, and we build it into the world's most compact and power-efficient brakes and clutches for robotic applications. And to me, an ecosystem for a company that's producing a product is everything you need to produce that product, from suppliers, materials, process companies that can perform processes, and the labor you need to bring into your company. So in a place like Pittsburgh, you have lots of access to talent coming out of some of the top universities in the area. You also have access to accelerators. So if you have a new idea and you have a startup, there's portions of the ecosystem that are designed to help you get started. So it's everything you need, from raw materials and people to customers.
Beautiful. Paul. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Reeg Allen. I'm the CEO of Journey Robotics, and we're working on automating baggage handling. It's a terrible job. Average bag weighs 40 pounds. Go throw 600 of those in an 8-hour shift. Your body is beat. So it's really why it's hard to get good quality service. Is still a human process. We're doing that with robots. But why Pittsburgh? What about this place makes it so that we can do this versus some other town? Obviously, like everybody said, the support programs, CMU, the talent, but there's also support from like the airport. There's an X-Bridge program. We're actually perfecting our product in a live environment. Having that ecosystem is willing to support people like us going out there on a limb, trying to do something new, is really what Pittsburgh's about. You know, we're that small town, but we're a city, and we're very mighty, and that's really helped us go from brand new company to we're going to be launching our first pilot in Heathrow next year. So within 2 years, from nothing to doing great things. Thank you.
Outstanding, outstanding. All right, so we have our 3 founders. We're going to have 2 other voices to set up what we mean by robotics ecosystem. Katie, kind of same question, but different approach. You're new into the career, so from your point, introduce yourself, and what do you think of as a robotics ecosystem as you join this as a professional?
So my name is Katie Lynn. I am a current student in the robotics program at Westmoreland County Community College. As far as a robotics ecosystem, as a student and coming into this field, we're the upcoming workforce. Whenever you've got companies that need, whether it's technicians or whether it's engineers, they all have to get their education somewhere, and they all have to start somewhere. So going through the program that I have has really prepared me to enter into that future workforce. Beautiful.
All right, Nick, we love this case study. You are not a roboticist. You are not a recent CMU grad with a comp sci degree. Introduce yourself and tell us why the hell you're on a panel about robotics.
Right, I'm probably the last person you expected to be up here. So, Nick Mancini Hartner from Mancini's Bakery. I'm a fifth
Who's had Mancini before? Come on now. Yes, we know that. Exactly, yeah, yes.
Right, so we've been around. Hopefully everyone has tried our bread before. But where we come from is we're a legacy company, and we're on the forefront of becoming a smart factory and integrating both artificial intelligence and robotics into the bakery. Our goal is to be like the most technically advanced bakery in Pittsburgh. And with the help of what has become the Pittsburgh Robotics Collaborative, we're like the early product of that. And so with the help of a lot of people from Catalyst Connection, to ARM Institute over here, to our internal operations, Brady Cummings just over here, we are in the forefront of integrating what these guys are, and we hope to like come meet them somewhere along the line in technology.
Beautiful. All right, so that's our setup. 3 entrepreneurs, new workforce entrant, established, beloved Pittsburgh business benefiting from what we're talking about robotics. Let's talk a little bit about like where we are. So how has all this come together? New Economy Collaborative, federal funding matched with a ton of programs is powering something that was already here. The ecosystem metaphor, to get really nerdy with you, I'm a journalist, I covered this stuff. We use the ecosystem metaphor to mean lots of different species play together whether or not they realize it. From workforce to early stage companies to university to institutions, economic development, established businesses. So like we're at a swirling crossroads of lots of different efforts coming together. I wonder if like, I know many of you don't even necessarily directly recognize New Economy Collaborative, but so much of their funding has gone to programs you guys have been a part of. Can I get kind of any little case studies of how you guys have experienced any of the programs that are under New Economy Collaborative that's partly what brought us here today? I don't necessarily want to go in order, but like maybe start out, Paul, and just give us an example of a program you've benefited from and what it meant to you.
Yeah, the 2 programs that I was really fortunate to be a part of was the Pathways Fellowship and then the Robotics Factory Accelerator. And both of them were instrumental, like I said before, on getting us from that idea stage to the point where we're actually selling commercially, just waiting on this contract to get signed. But some of the...
We're always waiting for contracts to be signed. It's the entrepreneurial life.
Yeah. Some of the specific resources that were granted as part of the Pathways Fellowship was the ability to have the former director of the Robotics Institute as my mentor. He was instrumental in guiding us on our early kind of just ideas in the sky, bringing us back down to reality to actually get a product out that met what the customers need, and now he's serving as an advisor on our company. The other support that was given by Pathways Fellowship was assistance in actually going out to the largest conference in the world for aquaculture, which was really instrumental on our customer discovery journey and leading to the point of getting this contract. From the robotics factory side, the accelerator has been great with introducing us to mentors, giving us access to manufacturing partners, so that way we can take our concepts and actually build out our initial prototypes. And then obviously the investment support has been instrumental going out to pilots and planning out our future development.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah, we followed a very similar pathway, and we benefited from a lot of programs coming out of Carnegie Mellon. But a specific program that falls underneath this umbrella is Innovation Works in the Robotics Factory. So we're in a slightly different program. We are in the SCALE program. So at this point, we have some of our first initial customers, and we're making a move from having small numbers of prototypes to larger numbers of products that we're selling to large companies. And making that transition is really hard for a bunch of academics who started a company. So I'll second your comments about mentorship. The Robotics Factory gives us access to people who have scaled a company before, who have negotiated manufacturing agreements, who have negotiated licensing agreements, who have navigated raising venture capital to grow your company. So mentorship is huge, but also a lot of manufacturing resources. When we need one-off manufacturing tools for things like demos for trade shows or one-off prototypes for a customer for a feasibility study, we can do that through the Robotics Factory with the equipment they have. That's not an appropriate tool for producing thousands of products, but it's a perfect tool for getting a feasibility study out the door to a customer right away. So the SCALE program allows us to accelerate, and it also has connected us to all the resources and mentorship we need to grow our business from quantities of 1 to 100 to thousands. So we're very excited to be growing at this point.
Great. I mean, just keep it going, I guess, at this point, yeah.
So I come from a different perspective. I got over a 20-year career in robotics. So I'm in the serial entrepreneur perspective, this isn't our first robotics company. Our team has been there and done that. But these programs still, even for people who've done this before, has been tremendous in helping us. Starting off with, when I was in another company, there was an event called the Aviation and Robotics Summit that now, after 3 years, is called the World Innovation Summit. It's all about trying to create a technology cluster here in Pittsburgh to change air travel. Well, that program's brought in 80 different customers from around the world and has helped me get massive connections so that we went from nothing, brand new company in March of 24, to we have a working prototype in our local airport. We're allowed to bring in people from all around the world to see it. And that has attracted British Airways, Heathrow, Vancouver Airport, Air Canada. These are places that, how did I get those connections? It's from this local support. And hard to get that anywhere else. The other thing is Pittsburgh Robotics Network. You know, we're here because of that. But even somebody that's been in the ecosystem forever, they're constantly making sure we're staying in touch with the local ecosystem and not just staying in our cave and our own things. We're out there collaborating. We're figuring out how we can help others and how others can help us. And that's what makes us uniquely Pittsburgh. That whole community feeling, you know, that's us. And why I love it, why I love this is my hometown. Thank you.
Well, so Katie, I think that I love that we can like look and watch across this conference, this convention center floor, from the spark of interest in STEM to the career programs and university programs. We get through to the workforce programs for a later career, and commercialization and corporate. You are somewhere. You got on that train. Talk a little bit about like why are you moving your career into robotics? Give a little bit of your personal story, and like where are you intersecting into robotics now?
So my first, I guess, encounters as far as robotics goes, I would have to say it started whenever I was in high school. I went to Votech for machining, but at Eastern Westmoreland Career and Technology Center, we had a Bots IQ team, and so we created and built our BattleBot for competition and everything. So that was my first real.
So metaphorically, you were over in that room at some point, you know, sparked by BattleBots. At that point, was it just like cool, or did you have career ambitions yet?
So originally, I wanted to be an engineer. I come from a family that has some engineers in it, and that was always I was always pushed towards the college type of pathway, and I decided to take my own pathway. So by going to Votech, I got into machining, and I'm a journeyman tool and die maker. I've been working as a machinist for the last 8 years. I decided that two and a half years ago, I decided I wanted to go back to school and dabble in something related, but kind of new at the same time. So whenever I decided to venture out to Westmoreland County Community College, I had been looking at a couple different programs, and I originally wanted to go for like electronics engineering, but then I was approached by the advisor about the robotics program, and through the Build Back Better grant and everything else, the robotics program was offering free tuition for students in that program that were full-time students. So because of how those two different programs were similar, I was very much motivated by free schooling, and
Smart.
Because who doesn't want to go to school for free if they can? So that set me on my path to where I am now as far as a student. I'll be graduating in 5 weeks now, 5-6 weeks, from the robotics program. And it really has opened my eyes as far as how related the manufacturing industry is to the robotics industry. Like, they go hand in hand a lot more than what people realize. Because I think to the average person, they think humanoid robots when they hear robots. And that's only just a small piece of the spectrum as far as what robotics really is.
That's so good. So Nick, I want to turn to you, but to linger on Katie for a sec, like if we're answering the question, what is a robotics ecosystem? What is unusual about Pittsburgh? Not many regions have that kind of connected train. From Spark in high school, lots of programs around the country have like K-12 exposure to robotics. But the synthesis to then either community college or high school vo-tech or undergraduate tied to robotics. That tie does not come all the way to commercialization. And so, Katie, you like perfectly embody that you had an interest in it, but you needed to be shoved a few other ways. Free school, an advisor, an awareness in a system to know that you had that career path. That's not what exists elsewhere. So that's really inspiring. All right, so Nick, lots of people with celebrated businesses around this country that make some kind of beloved baked goods would be like, I am not interested in bringing a bunch of machines or like nerds to tell me what I should be doing here. Why do you want to be a smart bakery? And is Pittsburgh anything to do with it?
Absolutely. So the opportunities here really present themselves. So just a little bit of my background. I'm actually a bioengineer by degree, so like I do have like a love for technology and like what's possible.
You're cheating a little bit with pretty advanced. Yeah, got it.
So those.
I want you to be just in the apron in the back with the bread, but all right, fair.
I'm both, right? You'll see me Saturday morning in the Strip District baking bread, absolutely. But on the other side too, there's just so many opportunity out there, and we're constantly pushed with that question of like, how do we get better and stay the same? So how can we integrate these possibilities? How can we deal with these challenges of both like labor, younger workforce doesn't necessarily want to work nights, weekends. Those are the things that we need as a bakery to be successful. When I grew up, the average baker stayed with us 40 years. Now it's closer to 5. So how do we pool all that like tribal knowledge, everything that we know, and get to a place where we can help the bakers that we have do more? And that's really the drive of it. Matt Meniere's in the front row here. He's like, we became connected with Catalyst Connection, and they made it possible. There was a small grant, an exploratory grant, to see what integration of these technologies can do for us, and it really made it easy for us to do the study, to internalize that there is something here for us to gain. We can do this, and that's something I think can only happen in Pittsburgh, where that these small connections, you get connected to the right programs, and you can see the finish line.
See the finish line, and I love that. What was that you said, that how do we change but still stay what we are? Something along those lines.
Right.
Really.
Right. Yeah. You have to deliver that same loaf of bread, that same crust, that same taste that everyone expects. And it would be a failure if we didn't.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right, I want to throw some more specific questions to each of you that's all going to build in this idea of what would other regions around the country learn from Pittsburgh, or what can Pittsburgh still grow and develop on. So I'm going to a little bit go down the line here. Paul, I have, in my 20-year reporting career, never met a place that didn't have entrepreneurs that complained about access to capital. I've never met it. But in robotics and hardware, there still is often a conversation about access to capital. Talk to me a little bit about, when you're looking out toward growth, how is capital part of your own thinking? Is that something you're thinking about? How does that play into where you are or where you got to build?
Definitely, because the industry that we're building into, it's very niche, so it has been a little bit harder to find traditional sources of capital. Right now, funding from a non-dilutive standpoint is a little bit tougher to find, so it's been a lot of being really resourceful, connecting into as many groups in our industry of aquaculture, ocean tech in general, to find opportunities, whether it's competitions, whether it is small accelerators, venture studios, what have you, that have access to give capital to companies to start up. And then we were really fortunate that through CMU, there was the McGinnis venture competition, and then we were part of the social enterprise track, that also gave us some competition wins to get going. I think in general, it is tough to find capital today, especially at the early stage. So it's just really being as resourceful as possible to see what is out there, because every industry has their own niche competitions, that it is a huge benefit to startups once they compete and win those.
Kirby, like around the country over the last 20 years, we've put new resources toward supporting entrepreneurs, which means sometimes starting the thing is getting easier, and growing the thing can be a little bit easier. But there's also a valley we talk about, and it comes up a lot in hardware. It's other businesses as well. Like, you get a lot of initial success, but then, oh man, no one thinks we're cute and new anymore. I just had to go and sell to customers. It's a bit of a grind. Talk to me about, have you yet been there? What lessons do you have? What support systems are there, or could there be in that kind of valley?
Sure. You're talking about the Valley of Death. And for tech startups, this is a really common phrase, especially for tech startups that use programs like Small Business Innovation Grants or SBIR. That's federal funding dollars that are non-dilutive to help get technology off the ground. And often when you apply your technology to these kinds of grants, the people who write the topic call asking for the technology solution aren't the ones who are empowered to move that solution forward. They're someone who works in the government who's aware of a general problem, and they can be really excited and supportive of your technology. You can finish the grant, deliver on all of your targets, and then at the end, all of your contacts say, well, that was great. And you're not really sure where to move on from there. So we really learned from the experiences of other companies that to get over that valley of death is you really have to network and find the decision makers and create as many visual representations of the success of your product as you can. So get your products out there early, even if it's ugly, even if it doesn't work yet. As long as it works enough to get the idea out there, get it out, get people trying it, get people talking about it, and find the decision makers. And I think something that I'm really excited to share is I'm a little jet lagged because I just got back from Japan, because we have our first big public partnership. Something that startups really struggle with is the companies we work with are often working under NDA, so non-disclosure agreement, so you can't share it. But we're excited to announce that we're working with Suzuki on a new mobility project.
Wow, awesome.
Thank you. So getting that first big public account is, I think, really big for overcoming the valley of death. So get connected to your decision makers, make them an evangelist for your product, and do everything you can to make them happy and make them part of the adventure, because your startup technology isn't going to work straight out of the box the first time. So make sure your customers know what they're getting into and are excited about the journey too.
Great. So, Reeg, you mentioned your technology being deployed in airports to help with kind of bag movement. Another thing from years of reporting that I found, lots of entrepreneurs will often deride what support is there locally, which sometimes can be true, but sometimes just feels like complaining. Because at some point, the entrepreneurs have to go out and you have to like sell the product, build a product people need. Talk to me a little bit about, you couldn't just deploy your work in Pittsburgh. It's important that locals want to support you, but you have to go sell everywhere else. So talk to me about your entrepreneurial journey of like building with robotics, but solving a need that isn't only solved here, that needs to be solved elsewhere too.
Sure. For us, how we've been able to go from nothing to interacting with some of the biggest airlines in a year and a half is because we have done exactly what Kirby said, gone out there, get involved. So there's trade associations involved. So there's one called International Association of Baggage System Companies, IABSC. So we go there and we get to know the airport designers and the folks that actually make the belt systems in the heart of the airport. That's theirs. So we're there getting to know folks, letting them know about our progress even when we're real brand new. And then another group is Future Travel Experience has a group called the Baggage Innovation Working Group. 140 members, 40 airlines, 30-some airport groups, lots of vendors like us that meet 8 times a year and talk about baggage issues. So finding those folks who understand their problem and are
It'd be a great conference, the Baggage Issue Conference.
Yes, exactly. And it's going out and doing those things and not staying at home is really what's helped us. So IABSC just had an innovation conference. I was at Rockwell Automation, up in Wisconsin, in their headquarters, talking right next to all these big companies. Even though I'm a little small guy, 10-person company here in Pittsburgh, it's going out and being bigger, punching above your weight. You have to do that. You have to, it's all about the shoe leather, wearing that out. If you don't go out there, you hold it tight, you're not going to swing big.
You should see Reeg at the after party of the Baggage Issue Conference. It is lit. Katie, I'm super interested in your career path and how you made these choices of weighing options of where I wanted to go with my career. We're in a weird economy now where it's shifting under our feet, which means a lot of portions of our economy are at risk and other parts are thriving. And it's disorienting depending on where you are. A part of our economy is thriving and a part of it's not. Can you just share a little bit more about like, were you talking with friends, other advisors, peers? Like, how did you make these decisions to find your way into this growth part of an economy? How much was it intentional? How much did you find yourself here? What were those conversations like with friends? Were things you talked about like making this turn into robotics?
So I guess whenever it comes down to it, the main concern was job security, making sure that I would have a job no matter which way technology went, I guess. And in all honesty, the manufacturing industry especially is becoming more and more automated and more dependent on the advances in automation. So, I mean, I decided to go into the machining field at an early age because I looked around at where are we going to need workers in the next 5-10 years, because people are retiring and it's in the trades. That's where the jobs are, and whenever you start catering to the trades and you realize, wow, like I really never will go without an opportunity for a job. And so going into the robotics field is just building on that idea of job security, especially in this area and in the Pittsburgh region. I mean, I'm from about an hour away, and even in our little community, the amount of job opportunities, whether it be in the manufacturing, whether it be in growing robotics companies, there's just so many opportunities there if you just look for them. So even though our economy is in kind of a weird place, I don't see automation and robotics ever taking a backwards step per se.
Well, the courage you demonstrate also makes me confident that if there were to be a shift, part of your story teaches what programs are there for career advancement or career changing. I think that like lifetime learning is the one thing we've all fundamentally understood is now part of navigation in career. So thank you for representing that. Nick, I refuse to let you sound like make this sound like it was easy. I am sure there were like family or company decisions about making these investments in advancing manufacturing. I am sure there were difficulties or challenges. Can you give us a little bit of like inside making these decisions? What were the hang-ups? What were the obstacles? What's still an obstacle to come for you?
Yes, I would. And if you don't mind, I'm just going to go on a little tangent to some other earlier conversation. Like, Pittsburgh is such a great place, arguably robotics capital of the world, AI capital of the world, but also still a small place where you can network. I ran into a kid that I coached in wrestling here. My son happens to be here on a field trip. I ran into my neighbor who's going to introduce me to the autonomous forklift people after the show. So like, the opportunity that we have uniquely in Pittsburgh is that, you know, probably only 2 degrees away, you can get contact to somebody that knows something that can connect you to something. And that is something I think is probably very unique to Pittsburgh. We're such a small community, but we do punch above our weight, like you said.
Yeah, and forget about the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. It's right. The 2 degrees of Pittsburgh. 2
degrees, absolutely. And then to go back to your question, of course, you know, I'm a co-owner of the bakery along with my mom. You know, she challenges, you know, all of my decisions, and we're very democratic at the bakery.
As mothers will.
Yeah, right. So, you know, always have to confer, you know, with my boss, AKA my mom, on all these big decisions. But we definitely try to be educated. We try to make these decisions based on a way like, if we fail, is it going to kill the business? Yeah, if we only accomplish 80% of the goal, are we still going to be successful? And that's where we kind of like meter down into like whether we're going to move forward. And we've laid a lot in line. We've taken on some state grants, some state loans, and private loans to move our company forward. But I just know that this is what we need to do to set ourselves up for success and to be the bakery of the future. We're going to be light years ahead of our competitors. We're going to deliver great bread for, you know, we think in hundreds of years. I want my kids to take on the business and their kids to take on the business. And, you know, we're going to be here a long time because of the work we did with all of our partners and you know, like I said, just setting ourselves up for success. And I don't know if we could do that any place other than Pittsburgh.
So I get a little bit less than 10 minutes with you guys, and I don't think I do audience Q, so I think I get the rest of the time with you guys. But I want to go to a couple like bigger picture things, and Nick, you neatly set it up. When folks who are less familiar with robotics think of it, maybe Katie, you alluded to this too, there is sometimes some fear here. We have fear of, are we talking about replacing all jobs? Are we replacing you know, our role in our communities? And I would love all of your takes about how do we make sure we're still keeping people at the center of whatever the work any of you are doing? You know, what is its relationship to making the world a better place for people? Because I like to think we like people, and we want our work to like center people. And this might be easier on your side, but I wonder if we could get your thoughts. How are people still at the center of the economy that Pittsburgh is building around robotics?
Again, I think the degree of success is, remember that like people, the human capital is the most important thing. And you know, if you think a person wants to be at the end of a line, you know, lifting heavy objects repetitively over 8-hour shift, that's not what they want. You know, we want to empower, in our case, the baker to make decisions, to be able to produce great product and control like a larger span of things. And so the idea is to use people, humans, their imagination to do more, not to take away jobs or something else. It's like the idea is we want to grow, we want to do more, we want to do it better, and that's how we do it.
Beautiful. Katie, you showed some real savvy around, you know, making career choices. I have to think at some point then you've had that thought of like, what if I'm all wrong and all of the roles and the skills I've developed will be automated away? Like, do you think about how people are still at the center of the economy you want to be a part of?
So at the end of the day, there's still got to be someone to program that robot, to maintenance that robot, to, I mean, every bit of tech has issues. So ultimately, it's just a matter of, the jobs aren't going to disappear for those people that the robot is replacing. Their jobs are just changing. It's evolving. And I think that scares a lot of people because it's change, and people don't necessarily embrace change as much as others do, especially whenever it comes to feeding your family. Like, am I going to have a job? Well, your job may just change. Like, you may become more specialized instead of carrying those racks of heavy bread out of the ovens and everything. Your job may look more like, okay, I'm tending to this robot, so I don't have to do the physical lifting and be exposed to the heat of the ovens, and long term have whatever physical ailments from doing those repeated movements. So it's change, and people, it's a matter of whether they want to embrace that change or not.
I'm a 7th generation Pittsburgher. Family from
What generation did you say?
7.
7. All right, love it.
McGee baby. But my family worked in the coal mines. My family worked in the steel mills. My grandfather died of black lung disease. Last 10 years of his life were on oxygen from working in the steel mills and the asbestos suits. Robotics is all about augmenting humans to not do the things they shouldn't be doing that is going to decrease your quality of life. My dad, delivery driver, Little Debbie's, 3 knee replacements one side, 2 on the other. You know, from lifting 20-pound boxes, 40, 50 pound, 70-pound bags. You know, you do that career for 20 years, you're crippled, what time are you really spending with your grandchildren? Versus we take that brawn part off, allow them to do other things that humans are good at, solving problems, things like that, and then allowing them to have healthier lives at the end. That's what we're focused on, is really about making lives for the workers and for the travelers better. Better consistency, better work of life, same thing Mancini's doing. Having that quality product, but also making sure that their people that work for them have great lives after they leave. So that's really what robotics is about, is augmenting, finding those 2 things, finding those things that people shouldn't be doing, and creating technology so they don't have to do it anymore.
Kirby.
Yeah, I agree with everything that Reeg mentioned, that we should be using robotics to replace jobs that are dull, dirty, or dangerous. But I do have to admit that for the first time, I am starting to feel a little worried that not only are robotics filling roles, but also AI is starting to fill roles. We're seeing huge growth in some robotic sectors and a lot of layoffs in a lot of tech jobs as well. So I think we all need to be thinking about the ethics of what we're doing and thinking about how we want to regulate it. So we want to make sure that AI and robots are replacing the jobs that we're having difficulty filling and not replacing dream jobs. I want robots to move my luggage, not create art. I want to make sure that humans are able to do the jobs that we love and the jobs that we all benefit from. And that's going to take a lot of thought and a lot of regulation from the people who run compliance programs and run our governments. And if AI and robotics are coming in and displacing people from one job to another, I think programs like the Build Back Better plan that offer free education for retraining are going to be an essential piece of the puzzle. We shouldn't be displacing people and leaving them to fend for themselves. We should be moving them out of jobs that are dull, dirty, or dangerous, and then giving them education to do something more fulfilling and higher value.
Kirby, I got to linger. So yeah, great. If I didn't have a microphone in my hand, I would do that too. Great. Linger for 1 second. So I work at a news organization. We're called Technically. We get sent a lot of analyses of the most AI, automation, tech, robotics, vulnerable jobs. And a point of contention for me has always been, it's always ranked by could a technology replace this job, not do we want a technology to do this job. And it feels like we could at least do a 2x2 axis on this stuff, like easiest and we most want to. And I wonder, you're in this trade, do you see that sort of, is it still rare? Are we yet having that conversations in your peer groups about keeping humanity at the center of the work that we're doing?
No, I was just having a conversation with a technology partner and asking, how are you using AI in your businesses? And they said, hey, we're really excited. We've been using AI to create innovation babies, that we're using AI to come up with new ideas to push our business.
Put your mic a little farther up because I missed it. Innovation
sorry.
what?
We're using AI to create new ideas for innovation in our company, identify new products that are going to have an important niche. And to me, innovation is part of the most enjoyable part of running a business. It's connecting with people. It's about having a dream. And writing that job away and giving it to AI, like maybe it does help you speed you up. And if you're using it as a tool, that's great. But if you're writing away the part of your product that came from you, that is a huge bummer. So I do think we need to be thinking about what we want technology to replace and what we don't want it to replace. So as we are looking towards new regulation, let's hold our regulators accountable and make sure that our artists, our writers, our innovators are always going to have space to do what they need to do and not be displaced by technology that could be getting it wrong, could be hallucinating. These are issues that we're seeing. So I don't think we're at the point yet where AI is replacing innovators completely, but I think that it could be on the horizon and we need to start thinking about what we should do, not what we can do. And these are all solvable problems. It's just not always clear that these problems can be solved at maximum profit. So please pay attention and make sure that you're holding your regulators accountable.
As the great philosopher Jeff Goldblum said in Jurassic Park, we might sometimes think that we could do it, not whether we should do it. Paul, toward the end here, kind of your take on this. Are we keeping people at the center?
Yeah, I definitely totally agree with all of Kirby's points and all of the past points on augmenting the workforce. That's what our focus is with these fish farms, is really coming in, understanding their workflows, making sure we're providing value from day one and building that trust and partnership with them so that they know that the technology that we are developing is only going to help them increase production while keeping their key workforce there. So I totally agree with that, and I think the other major aspect when it comes to AI.
You might just want to wait a
general,
sec. It's just meditate for a moment.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, go.
The last thing that I'll just say is that the way I see AI tools coming now and in the future is that pretty much the human race is going to be just limited by our creativity. We need to make sure that the youth has access to learn so that they can develop that strong sense of wonder and creativity. So that way, when they get to the age that they can use these tools, that they're only really just propelling their work further instead of replacing ideas and replacing that creativity that should be innate.
That's great. So I just have a couple minutes left with you guys. Not everyone has to swing at this, but I want to leave us with like what comes next, kind of future of Pittsburgh Robotics Ecosystem. Again, New Economy Collaborative, Pittsburgh Robotics Network helped bring us here. Many institutions and stakeholders have done this work for many decades. You all are at some point of your own career. Maybe give us a lookout. Anyone got a take for us 3 to 5 years from now? What's the signal that we want to look for that Pittsburgh has gone the direction we want to see it? What are those numbers or feelings or examples or anecdotes that you put out there that will inspire or give us a sense that we've gone the right path?
I think the integration of like all these like big great companies down to smaller companies like us, like we were able to work with Digital Foundry out of New Kensington, and they like really made it approachable for us. And I think the success is gonna, when you see this trickle down to the mom and pop, the small businesses really adapt and utilize this stuff, you know. And if they don't, you know, they're gonna get swallowed up, and we're, you know, Pittsburgh's gonna lose its character. It's really important that this matriculates down to the small companies, the small grassroots, the entrepreneurs, and Pittsburgh gets to keep its identity in the big picture. So that's what I think.
Last takes, please, yeah.
To me, it's not allowing the brain drain to happen. Groups like Duolingo that are these massive world companies staying here. You know, I was told I was crazy not to go to Silicon Valley to do this company. You know, everything's there. No, it's here in Pittsburgh, and we can do it at a better cost. And it's for those companies that make it. Really making this home and seeing a bunch of those happen, I think is the major success.
Final swings? Yeah, Kirby.
Yeah, if 5 years down the line we want to know that we've done it right, I think we should be looking for prosperity. So really building on what Reeg just said, I moved from Silicon Valley back to Pittsburgh because I was able to have a better life for my family. And if we've made good decisions in robotics moving forward, we should see everyone living better. So we should be looking for prosperity in the next 5 years.
I don't think we can do better than that, so I think we should close out with a big round of applause to this panel. Can we do that? Thank you so much. That was this is what a robotics ecosystem is. Please enjoy the day, and I believe I just stopped talking now. Thank you.